Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Inspired Writer Collective. I am Elizabeth, and I'm joined with Stephanie. And today we are going to be talking about how you invest in yourself as a writer. So often I see writers comment in Facebook groups or on Instagram threads asking for advice on how to promote their book, and they're really concerned about the financial cost of getting that book from their brain into the hands of their reader. And they're looking at that as the investment, right? That they're investing this money into their book, and how much are they going to get in sales? And how much is that, are they going to earn back their investment? But Stephanie and I are going to talk today and sort of challenge that concept that it is not a singular book that you are investing in. It is actually yourself as a writer. So, Stephanie, let's kick it off. Like, how is it that you have invested in yourself and seen rewards from choosing to invest in yourself?
So, one of the biggest ways that I've invested in myself is I have a book coach who I work with on I try to do a weekly basis. Sometimes that doesn't always happen given schedule conflicts and such. But I've really found that putting myself in the company of someone who sees the possibility, who encourages that, is so powerful for the momentum. And the process of writing a book is slow at times and fast at other times. And on top of that, I feel like too, the work that we've done with this podcast and the offerings that we have, I mean, there's so many layers to it, right? Coaches need coaches is one of the conversations we were having the other day, is that Elizabeth and I are both, coaches for writers in different formats. And we still need to have a coach. Like, we don't have it all figured out. And anybody who tells you they have it all figured out is not telling you the truth, because we all need to surround ourselves with the people who see it's possible. That's what makes it powerful. That's what propels the momentum forward, and believing in yourself. Because if you're thinking like, oh, I have to do this all by myself, I have to make all these decisions by myself, I have to put all this money into this myself. Well, guess what? It makes it so much easier when you invest in the people who can show you the shortcuts so that you're not throwing hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars out the window by all these slick marketers out there who are telling you that they have the answer. And for those of you who've been following us for a while, we have a memoir summit coming up that's going to be a day-long event with panelists who will show you it's possible.
Very true. And what you just said, Stephanie, really just made me think about why I have recently chosen to hire an author coach. So I have hired Hannah, and I don't think her episode's come out yet. It may be the week after this one.
Mhm.
And so what I'm working with her on is she is helping me figure out all the timelines and intricate details of getting my book from its completed version, right? Like I've got my book cover designer working on the cover right now. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen some of that. And I also am getting ready to send off my manuscript to both my beta readers and my line and copy editor. Shout out to Allison, who was in last week's episode as my editor. And so I needed help and guidance in figuring out how to take my book from where it is now to getting it into the hands of my target audience. And I don't know how to do all that. And it would take me so much time to, follow the right people on Instagram who teach you how to do these things or show you tips or gather the individual pieces all together. And time is not really what I have. I work a job. We also run this podcast, and I'm trying to get this book done. So, like, I need someone who can help me map out a clear plan of what I need to do when, making sure I'm not missing any key pieces. Like, when do I need to reach out to ARC readers? Did you know that you should be doing that like 3 months before you ever hand them a copy of the book? I didn't. And if I didn't hire Hannah, then I wouldn't have known that. And I probably would have missed that mark, that timeline, And then I wouldn't have the ARC readers to help me promote the book ahead of, during the pre-sale and pre-publication period. So, all that is to say that there are times when you're stepping into a new stage of the writing process where it is worth the investment of working with someone who knows that stage well. So, whether you're working with an editor, you're working with someone who is going to help you, outline your story. Like I work with my memoir people on either one-on-one or within a small group coaching session. And once Hannah laid out for me like our schedule, because I started working with her in January and I'm publishing and towards the end of June. So we have a schedule from January to July. And once she outlined for me what we'd be covering in each of our sessions, it felt so totally doable. Like it really, once she broke it down of when we needed to do what, I was like, oh, I've got this. I can do this. She's got a plan. I'm very good at following through on plans, even if I struggle to make them for myself. So that has given me that framework so that I can relax and know that I am doing exactly what I need to be doing right now. At this stage, I simply need to get these edits done so I can get them sent off to the people who need to read these copies of the book. I need to make my beta reader questions to send out to them. So I can feel confident knowing that I'm not missing anything and I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. I'm on the right path that's going to get me to this goal that I've set for myself and for my book. And that's exactly, I think, the beauty of what hiring a coach can do for you when you're in that particular stage. One of the key pieces of this memoir summit that is going to be so helpful for you guys that choose to attend is that throughout the day, we are presenting on topics from the beginning and the idea and the concept of valuing your story and choosing to share your story before you even start drafting, all the way through drafting, through editing, choosing what content to keep in there, what you want to take out, how to put it into a book form, formatting, cover design, and then marketing and publication. And in each of these sessions, we have a panel of experienced people. And through this, you could ultimately find the coach or the service or the program that you are ready for. Each of these people offer some sort of program or one-on-one coaching option. So you will get to come and sit with us for the day. The ticket is only $5. And through that, you can get an introduction to all of these experienced people. You get to hear what they're talking about specifically. You get to submit your own Q&A questions. As soon as you buy your ticket, you'll have access to submit your questions to make sure that your question gets asked and answered. And then you will have a whole toolbox of people that you can reach out to or read their blog posts when you get to that stage in your writing journey. This is basically going to give you the roadmap that you need, and then you can pick and choose those experts and those coaches that fit what you want for your book. And at only $5 a ticket to attend live, I mean, it's really such a deal. There is an option to purchase the replays so that you don't have to be overwhelmed trying to jot down all the notes. We will be sending an email as a follow-up after that program with everyone's contact information so that you will have all of that. But this is a great way for you to invest in your writing journey in a very broad way. You can get a taste of all the different flavors and see what works for you.
Well, and I think it also speaks to the power of putting yourself in the right rooms. And that's one of the pieces that I'm learning on this journey because it's new for me. I certainly don't have it all figured out. And that's the beauty of investing in something that's already been curated for you. And essentially the Memoir Summit, we've pulled the people together who we've connected with, who've all been guests on the podcast, and you can listen to all those episodes. link to the webpage will be in the show notes, where you can find all of those episodes together, and you can go right to the spot that you're most curious about. And the beauty of it is that it's about putting yourself with people who show you the possibility, who show you that there is a path to publishing, whether you're doing it traditionally or independent, it's possible. And I think one of the biggest challenges with the writing community out there is that it often seems like there's so many gatekeepers, that there's not a way in. And sure, if you're trying to go for one of the big five publishers, that's a whole other journey and challenge. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about valuing your ownership of saying, I'm a writer, and owning that and saying, this is what is speaking to me. This is the story I'm ready to tell. And finding the people who will lift you up at every step of the way. And that's the beauty of listening to this podcast, of maybe working with me or Elizabeth as your coach, or finding another coach, and maybe even through the Memoir Summit. There's so many possibilities. And the beauty of it is that we've done the footwork for you here, and we're offering this to you for less than a latte at your local coffee shop. I mean, I don't know,
Especially
you know,
nowadays. My gosh.
I mean, $5 for an entire day. I mean, this is going to be, hours of time with amazing people who will just fill you with this sense of like, oh, wow, like I know this is possible, or, oh, I didn't even know that that was the step I should be taking, or I didn't know that that's what I should be looking for. And that's what we're here to support you with, is to say like, yes, you are a writer and the story you have to tell is valuable, and we're going to help you get in the room with people who will show it's possible. And it's the same thing for us. We have our weekly writing sessions that we do, and it's about putting ourselves in a room with others who are on this journey, and everybody's in a different place, and not everybody has it figured out. But we all know we're writers, and we know that community has so much value. And so again, I mean, I'm just all in today about like putting yourself in the rooms, putting yourself in the spaces. And even if it's a Zoom room, I mean, recently I went to a traditional publishing weekend for romance writers. And one of the things I learned there was that when you show up and put yourself in the rooms, it opens doors faster than if you don't put yourself in those rooms. Because every single agent who presented at that online conference said, if you put in the subject line that you were at this session, I will look at your stuff. No questions. And so that's also, again, with our Memoir Summit. If you attend, our guests are going to be open to inviting you into their space, because we've provided this space for them as well, and we raise each other up. And that's where the focus is investing in yourself, investing in knowing the people who are going to show you it's possible.
Yeah, and like you said, Stephanie, we have individual episodes with each of these people, so you can do a deep dive into someone. I mean, frankly, this is how I screened everyone that I've hired in order to help me get my book. My book cover designer came from this podcast. My both of my editors came from this podcast. My author coach came from getting to meet them through this podcast. And so I have screened these people. You can screen these people. But the beauty of the Memoir Summit is you don't have to watch, I don't know, like 10 hours of podcasting material. You can come to the Memoir Summit and you can get, what you're going to see is a 5-minute talk from each of our panelists on each of these sessions. And then we're going to open it up for Q&A, again, where you can ask your own questions and get responses from these experts, from these experienced and published authors. memoir writers themselves, many of them. And that is so valuable because you get it in such a more condensed space. You don't have to go and find necessarily all the episodes to get to know each of them. And it's priced in such a way that if you are really just only looking for the very next step that you have in the writing process, like maybe you're still in the idea stage and you don't want to be overwhelmed with the marketing yet. Totally get it. That session is 45 minutes. We'll tell you what time it's at. You can just show up for one session and then leave the rest, right? It's $5. That's totally worth attending a 45-minute Q&A session and discussion on. Or say you've already gone through all those earlier stages of writing and you're just, maybe you've even published your book already, but it just didn't land with your target audience. You're having trouble in this internet world reaching them and you're not sure what to do. We've got some great experts who will have actionable tips and tricks for you to use. And so maybe you just attend that last session of the day. You don't have to come for all of it. Maybe you don't want to give your entire day up, and I get that. This is structured that you can jump in and out of whatever sessions you want. If you're afraid you're going to miss something, just buy the replays. And mark your calendar for March 14th because that's coming up. But Stephanie, like you said, we show up in so many different ways, right? We've got these bigger curated events. We've got our one-on-one coaching. But at the end of the day, the way I get my writing done is showing up for our weekly writing sessions. And what I love that came out of it recently, like within the past 2 weeks, is this concept of even just using the time to do all the icky logistical work of being an author who has to run their own business, in promoting their books and sending emails and, everything we have to juggle as authors, and being able to use that time to just handle some of those logistics that you've put off, whether you need to sit down and finally just buy your ISBNs or you need to research something, maybe whether you want to go with, Ingram Spark or you want to go with Amazon or you want to do both. Like you can use, we're not judging how you use that writing time. You can use that writing time for whatever you need to do, even if you simply need to just sit and journal or read something else. It's so great to be able to use that time, even if it's not on your like core primary writing project. Although that is exactly how I've gotten my writing done. And you know this, Stephanie. Like every sprint I've done and rewrites or edits, almost the only time I get to spend is in that little writing window a couple days a week. And that's what's helping me get across the finish line. So it may sound small, but it's the consistency of doing it that'll get you there.
Well, and the great thing about it too is that you'll surprise yourself as you start to show up how much you can get done in even the 35 or 45 minutes, depending upon the day and the session that we block off time for. Because when you set your mind to it, and I know for me, I don't always get writing done during that time. And it is valuable for like, oh, wait, I didn't do my email for the week for the newsletter. Like, I'm going to get that done during that time. Or, and we're being real here because these are real things that we all know that like life is happening and they're just times that you're not inspired by anything to work on your novel, your memoir, your whatever it is, your fiction, nonfiction, anything. But the power of showing up in a room with others, and this is where a lot of my coaching is centered around the ADHD brain, is that body doubling of just knowing that you're in the room with someone else who's working on something is so powerful for the brain and your productivity to have that mirrored for you. And, you know, if you identify with having an ADHD brain, maybe you don't even know, but what I've learned for myself, having discovered this so late in life, is that my brain was already helping me put myself in situations. Like I love to write in coffee shops because I can have that ambient noise around me because it's just the fact that other people are doing things on their computers that motivates me to sit down and like, oh, I have stuff to do on my computer too. And I have writing to do. And so our weekly writing sessions provide that space and opportunity for you to show up and to show up with other writers. And, every now and then, while it's not required to come off camera or come off mute, we do sometimes end up in a random deep dive conversation about something or about where someone was stuck or where someone needs inspiration or whatever it might be. And that's the beauty of it as well, is again, building that community for yourself, investing in yourself. Putting it on your calendar is the first step towards saying, like, yes, I am blocking off this time. I am valuing myself. Because if there's one thing that I know all too well in my writer life is that the writing can slip so easily because another thing pulls me or I get distracted. And by putting this on your calendar, we invite you to reach out to us. This is something that we offer. If you express interest to us, we don't send out the weekly Zoom link to everybody on the list. We know not everybody has the space and time in their schedule, but if you do have 5 o'clock Eastern time. And it varies from week to week what day it is, but basically 5 o'clock Eastern time is the time when we get together and send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect with you. Um, it's just been really fun to watch the other writers in our community who come in and are moving themselves forward. Because again, it's that piece of putting yourself in proximity with others who are going to show you it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. I feel like, oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. Like before we hit record, Stephanie and I were both reflecting on how this tail end of the year of the snake has been brutal for both of us in our personal lives. And it's made it really hard to show up for our writing. Our schedules are packed. There's extra stuff going on that we're having to juggle behind the scenes. And having that little window of time, I mean, the meetings themselves are about 45 minutes long with the writing time around 35 minutes. So there's a little time to chat before and after. And that's what's kept me from not being so totally derailed in these tumultuous couple of weeks from my writing goal of needing to get my manuscript to my editor next week. It has been the anchor that has kept me continuing to show up, to get the editing done that I need to do, that confidence that I've already got the time carved out in my calendar. And like you said, Stephanie, some days I'm writing my Tuesday email in there on Monday to like get it done because I haven't had the time over the weekend. But it really is so helpful. And I just want to emphasize one more time that like you're investing in yourself as a writer. Everything that you're learning, whether you hire coaches, you attend something like the Memoir Summit or some other like larger conference, those are all tools that you are adding to your toolbox that don't just serve your current project, your current writing project or story that you're working on. Those are tools that you take forward into the next project and the next project and the next project. Like it's quite possible that I won't need an author coach the next time I go to publish a book because I will already have learned the framework this time around. Just like when I offer my memoir small group coaching, the memoir master plan cohort. Granted, it's a recurring course where you pay once and you come back as many times as you need to, but that's because once you learn the framework and how to set up your core message and doing your outline, it's a process you can repeat for all your other projects. You're learning concepts, you're learning tools, you're learning the key steps that you can then, plug in for any future project you're working on. So, especially as a first-time writer, especially for your first book, it's not going to make dollars and cents, guys. It's not. Like because you are not just investing in putting that one story out. So many people are writing, a series, right? And so you're looking at multiple books, 3 books or something like that. It's rare that you have just a singular project, even in memoir, because the memoir bug bites you and you're like, oh, I'm excited to share this story. But there's this whole other story that I know doesn't fit in this one that I want to write someday too. And so I just want to leave you with that final reminder that, like Stephanie said, it's about putting yourself in the rooms with people who are going to show you what all is possible for you. And it's about investing in yourself. You are the product. You are what is selling, because you don't start and end just when you hit publish on a book. You continue. And that's why it's important to find the right places that fit you to invest in yourself, whether that's showing up for a free, weekly writing session like we've mentioned, whether that's paying $5 to attend a full day memoir summit on March 14th, or if that's sitting down one-on-one with a coach of your preference. It's about investing in yourself. You're worth it.